Hello crafty friends, Shana from ShanoukiArt. This is card number 52 in Full Deck Challenge 2. The prompt is Secret Pocket. And this is the final card in this challenge. I have this beautiful printed acetate that I want to use for my pocket, but first I'm going to prepare my card by adding some white tissue paper with Mod Podge to the card. The tissue paper I'm using is the kind that you'd use for gift wrapping. If you don't have Mod Podge, you can also use gel, medium or craft glue. Once I apply the tissue paper down, I apply a layer of Mod Podge over the top. And for this card specifically, I'm also going to add the tissue paper to the back of the card, as that'll be actually part of the final design. I don't usually decorate the back, but you can if you want to. Once I've applied the Mod Podge and tissue paper to the back, I'm going to dry everything really well, and then I'm going to trim off the excess tissue. I'm using a scissors. You could also tear it if you prefer more of a rough or rustic look. For my secret pocket, I'm applying the pocket to the back of the card. That is the secret part about it. It's not like in an obvious place in the front of the card. And my pocket is going to be made out of this printed acetate. I'm going to cut a piece that is slightly bigger than what I need. That just makes it easier to stitch. And then I'm going to just punch a half circle with my round punch to create an easy access for what I'm going to put inside the little pocket. And then I'm going to attach the acetate to my card by machine stitching it. I always recommend that if you're attaching vellum or acetate to your project, especially with machine stitching, to always have the vellum or acetate slightly bigger than what you need. If you have it the exact size that you need, as you're pushing it under the foot of the sewing machine, it can slip and cause it to stitch skew. I just find it easier to have it bigger and then just trim off the excess once you're done with the stitching. I wasn't quite sure what to put inside my little pocket, but I have this piece of mixed media masterboard that I created for another project, so I'm going to use a piece of this. I'm just going to mark the size that I need and then cut it down to size. It's going to be slightly smaller than my pocket so that it slips in and out quite easily. I'm also going to use a corner punch just to round the corners of my little journal card. When I pop little journal cards into side pockets like this, I like to put a little tab on them just so that they're easy to sort of grab and pull in and out. And for this one, again, I just looked on my desk for little bits that I had, and I had this other circle that I had punched out from a handmade collage paper that I had made. So I decided to use that because the color suited it, and I liked that it was quite different to the actual journal card. I'm cutting it in half, and then I'm going to just attach that using Mod Podge to the top section of the one side. Don't overthink things. You can just sort of look on your desk and see what you have. Sometimes bits fall on the floor too. Just use what you have and try and use it all up. And then to extend that design, I actually have the piece of collage paper that I used where I punched the circles from, and I'm going to use that on the front of the card. I think that'll match pretty nicely, and it's a good way to use something that would actually probably go in the bin. Before I stick that down, I'm going to just put a little bit of design on the face of the card, which will shine through those cutout circles. I'm using some blue ink and my script stamp just to do some stamping, and then I'm also going to put some black splatter with watered down black acrylic paint. I'm going to draw all that really well, and then I'm going to stick on my whole punched collage paper. I'm not quite sure what else to call it. I'm just finding a piece that fits all the way across and has some of the blue showing, and I'm going to stick that down again with Mod Podge. I just generally use Mod Podge as an adhesive. It's on my desk. I have a big tub of it, and I find it very easy to use, but of course use what you have. Although this is the last card in Full Deck Challenge 2, it's never too late to join the Full Deck Challenge. You can start on any deck, on any card. You can follow my tutorial exactly, or you can just use it as inspiration. I'll put a link to both playlists in the description box below, and if you're on Facebook, you can join my group. Just search Full Deck Challenge Group. Once I stick that down, I'm going to then trim off the excess. It doesn't look like much now, but it actually looks really good in the final design. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a bit more detail. I'm going to use a black fine liner pen and go around the actual circle cutout. I'm just trying on the left to see which pen is best for this. And I'm going to just add definition by going around the cut circles just to frame them off and give them definition. This doesn't have to be perfectly straight. It can look hand-drawn, which is what mine looks like, and I actually quite like that. I don't like it to always look perfect, but if you prefer it to be exactly on the line, you could use something to trace around. And now to make the front and back of this card cohesive, I'm going to use another piece of that mixed media collage that I used, the green, and punch a smaller circle that I'm going to put inside the cutout circles on the front. So you can see that lime green is coming through, which I think is a beautiful contrast with the blue. It matches the journal card in the back, so it makes the front and the back of the card as one. I'm going to add a thin frame all the way around the journal card using my black fine liner pen. I love the definition this gives. I feel it finishes it off. And I'm going to do the same around the green circles that I put on the front of the card. I think it helps it stand out a little bit. So you can see how these two pieces are part of the same project. I'm now going to add a little quote or sentiment at the back of this journal card. I'm going to also do a frame around this one, and then I'm going to hand write a little quote. You could also stick a picture, or you could stick down a sentiment. You could put a photo, whatever you prefer. I love writing, so I will always hand write mine. Do what you're comfortable with. And once that ink is all dry, I'm going to pop my little journal card into my little acetate pocket at the back. The acetate did get a little stuck, I think, from the heat gun that I used, but just using my fingers to pry that open, it then slips in and out pretty easily. And there you go, there's my secret pocket altered playing card. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were inspired to create your own, and I also do hope you join me in the full deck challenge. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and then hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content. Happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.